Hey everyone, this is Shane Mahab here, President of Thunder Intel. On today's video, I have Steve O'Connor. He's the Chief Revenue Officer of Wellen Capital. Steve, appreciate you being on.
Shane, hi. Yeah, glad to be with you.
No, it's been a little bit. We started talking, and I wanted to have you on to talk more about Wellen and what you guys are up to and how this year is looking for you. But first, give me a more background on yourself or how you got into the industry.
Sure. I was part of a group that started Wellen. We were called something else back then. We went through a rebranding exercise as we changed businesses and products about 4 or 5 years ago. But going back 10 years into the summer of 2012, we had an investor group and a small factoring and ABL platform that was already in existence here in the Chicago area. And the guys who were running that at the time had the idea of really getting into a sort of multi-channel specialty finance platform. And one of the things that they wanted to add to their platform was a small business funding, MCA, revenue-based finance, whatever we call it now or called it then.
Right.
And so Jim Teppen, who's our CEO, and I both joined around the same time. Jim was there a little bit before me, and it was our task to start up this platform for small business finance, and that's what we did.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And so you guys, offer revenue-based financing. That's the only product, right?
It is, yeah.
And
We've looked at a few different things over the years, but one of the things that's been central to the strategy is to just really remain kind of focused on doing one thing well.
okay. All right. And so tell me a little bit about, I don't know, maybe some of your underwriting guidelines or what you're looking for to typical clients that or preferred clients.
Sure. So in many ways, what we do is traditional MCA, as
Okay.
the industry probably knows it. And what I mean by that is we like B2C service providers, retail stores, restaurants, a lot of the sort of right down the middle type of businesses that really are probably the backbone of the customer base in this industry. Long ago, you would have described our product as first position, really only meaning that, we know that there's kind of some fiction in that name. We don't really have, like other products might, we don't have a perfected first position lien necessarily, only that it's sort of the absence of us being in second or third position.
Okay.
We haven't really ventured into that only because, well, kind of a mix of strategy and some of the capital partners that we worked with. We just
Hmm.
decided this was the better spot for us. So what we typically look for from the broker channel, from the ISO network,
Hmm.
is we do look for those customers that are either not currently holding an open position with a revenue-based finance product of any kind, or one that can sort of pay off or allow us to pay off a small stub of an existing competitive product.
Okay. Got it. And does that include you guys do CC splits still or
We haven't done one of those in a long time.
oh, okay. All
Um,
right. All right.
but sure, those are still available. You got to love those. It's a much easier way to collect for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you guys technology wise, have you guys implemented things? I mean, CC splits were certainly known for you have their processing data, so it's easier to look at what you can possibly offer them as a renewal or in the future, and obviously what they currently are paying down on. But tell me a little bit, if you could, about anything technology based that helps you guys underwrite these folks or gives you a better idea of the customers that you want or their ability to pay back the advance.
Sure. Yeah, I think in this business, there's been a lot of people who have built out different technology stacks and different products for internal systems.
Hmm.
And I think you have to be careful not to fall too much in love with your own technology and think that it's that unique. But we are proud of what we have built. We've had a long time to build our stack together for a lot of our process work, our automation work, and things that inform our underwriting and our assessment of potential customers. We also took the time during COVID. We can talk about that a little bit, but when COVID
Yeah.
really shut the markets down in the spring of 20, we took the opportunity to spend some time in just making sure we could, rethink some of our technology.
Hmm.
So the way that I usually talk about it is our underwriting is a mix of that customer provided information, right? And we use things like you might expect. We use, things like Decision Logic or Ocrolus to take bank statements and digitize and spread those. Uh, so we've got the customer data, we've got public record information, and then we've got other data enrichment sources that are available commercially and things that we've sort of built ourselves over the years. And what this really allows us to do is take all of that data from an automation point of view
Hmm.
and put it into the platform so we don't have to rely too much on, the individual genius of talented underwriters going with their gut, right? Because they've seen customers like this before. We're able to have really discrete data points, really hundreds of data points on every potential customer that comes through.
Hmm.
And look, on the one hand, that allows us to look for patterns more quickly, right? And make decisions based upon how this customer compares to the training data set.
Hmm.
And it also gives us the ability to look backward, right? On deals we did and didn't do. So I think that that's something that gives us it gives us the ability to be quick enough to respond to the market. We know that in this market, our customers and our broker friends need answers as quickly as possible, even if the answer is no,
Hmm.
right? As long as it comes quickly. So it checks that box, but it also gives us repeatability, accuracy, and scale,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
We could grow our business and grow our volume without having to add and train lots more human resources because we do have a robust tech stack with a lot of automation built in. It helps.
And so when you mentioned kind of the looking back at the deals that you didn't do, how often is that? Or I mean, because that's an interesting thing to me on, yeah, you always want to know, hey, you didn't fund that guy because you figured something was going to happen or whatever the case is. But like how many deals per month or what anything can you throw out there that like how often would you look back and you can have a good sample size?
It's really sort of ongoing, Shane. It's
Okay.
not so much that we, actually sit down and put eyeballs on data. It's because that data set is always adding more rows to itself.
Mm,
So when our systems are making sort of comparisons against established limits or hurdles, we can continue to inform the validity of that limit or hurdle by adding more and more data all the time.
got it.
So that's really ongoing.
Okay.
And like everybody else in this industry, gosh, I mean, we're doing this a couple of hundred times a day to start with.
Right. Right.
And then depends on how busy you get during different points in the year.
Okay. And you mentioned about COVID. Was there something else that you guys had to do? I mean, everyone had to adjust in a million ways, but what else were the changes?
Look, first of all, we're really pleased that we were able to make it through
Hmm.
more or less intact. Not everybody in the industry was able to weather that really difficult event.
Hmm.
What we did, like a lot of companies, is we suspended funding just for a few months. And during that time, we actually shifted some people around to focus really on the most important thing, which was collecting the portfolio and talking to every one of our customers as often as we could to be able to, where possible, work with them to say, look, we understand this is a really big event, right? And not everybody's going to get out unscathed. We know that. So we were working with our customers to make sure we could still collect as much as possible without necessarily holding them to their original agreements.
Hmm.
We were able to make those reconciliation and adjustments as we should be doing in the MCA business, right? Especially in the most extreme cases, of course, when you've got hospitality businesses that are closed by the state or their local government, there is no future revenue, so there really shouldn't be any collections. So we spent a ton of time. We actually put more people on the phones with customers during that time, and of course, we didn't really have any people doing underwriting or sales because fundings had stopped for a little bit over that summer.
Right. Right. Okay. So then you made it through. So now, I mean, this year is, I mean, everything has a challenge, but it seems to be a little bit better. Now the Fed's, increasing rates. I think the market was a little bit crazy today. I haven't checked in the last couple hours, but tell me what your thoughts on for the rest of the year and how things are kind of, you're looking at them.
Sure, I think like everybody else, we're cautious, but we remain optimistic on our market.
Hmm.
When we've got a rising interest rate environment where we've got inflationary pressure on the consumer side of the economy, it doesn't bode well at all for anybody. It's not good news. But one of the things that we've got some experience with over a couple of cycles in the last 10 years or so is we're able to see sort of how revenue and spend patterns can change. And sometimes it's just different parts of the market see a shift, right? So we're trying to respond to that. We're optimistic about things like, well, I'll tell you, we're optimistic about the hospitality space, uh, restaurants and bars.
Yep.
One of the things that we find to be true, you can quibble over whether or not this is a recession, but it's close enough.
Right.
When consumers are feeling this kind of economic pressure, there's still little spending luxuries, and it might not be cruises, but it is going out to eat. So we think that the restaurant space, it might have spend patterns showing up in different tiers in hospitality, but I think it's going to be strong for the remainder of the year.
Okay. Very interesting. And I would agree. I think the cruises are a tricky one because even before COVID, it's always possibilities of getting sick and whatnot. But
True enough.
that for sure. So tell me about you onboarding ISOs. What do you look for in ISOs, or more about Wellen that they should know and understand?
Yeah, Shane, 10 years ago when we started this company, one of the things that was definitely on the strategy document was that we were going to very, very jealously and very strenuously guard our reputation, meaning that uh, if your reputation for being a good shop slips, it's really hard to get back.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we're most proud of, and one of the things that I think differentiates our business, not just in our market, but in lots of businesses our size, right, is that we do pay a lot of attention to what that reputation is worth. So I'm hopeful that it's still true, that folks who are encountering Wellen for the first time, if you check us out, that you'll find that our reputation is really strong among customers and certainly among the broker community. That's been really important to us. And you get there in a few ways. It's, first of all, you deal with everybody as honestly as you can, and you do what you say you're going to do, right? So one of the things, actually, it's a bit funny. Earlier in our company's life cycle, we were probably paying too much attention to making sure that the offers that we put out into the market could never be seen as being a retraded offer or an offer that we were going to come back on later.
Mm-hmm.
And the point of that is that we were trying to establish that kind of foothold in the broker market to earn that reputation of, look, if Wellen makes you an offer, it's a good offer. The only thing that I think we would do differently today is to say, look, sometimes an offer comes back because there will be items we find in diligence that are just unfundable, right? If we find a merchant's been recently sued by their incumbent provider, then we might have to say, I'm sorry, we can't actually go through and close and fund this one. And hopefully everyone can understand that.
Right.
But that's really been the big idea, is that our relationships with our brokers are built on trust, and we had to earn that trust over time. Does that make sense?
It's 100%. And I wish most would go that route and have that kind of process and belief and kind of goal really overall.
It can
And
be more costly, but it's something that we don't mind investing in because that's where we get the rewards, right? This business works best for all parties, customers, brokers, and funders, if everybody feels, I think, like they can trust each other, right? Or at least that they know that what they're getting is the straight truth from all sides. So one of the things too that I think our brokers should know about us is sometimes Wellen asks for more information up front than you might see in the standard package. And that's not because we're trying to get more information than we deserve, right? Sometimes deservedly so and understandably so, brokers might want to hold a couple of things back because they're protecting that relationship they have with the customer. And we get that, right? What we're trying to do is use as much information so we can do the best underwriting up front, so we don't sort of make a half-baked offer now and then have to really adjust later when we have all the information.
Sure.
So one of the things that we sometimes have to go through when we're working with a new broker for the first time or the first few months is that's a little bit of an adjustment period.
Okay.
But I think pretty commonly our brokers get to know that, you know what, it's okay that we're asking for one or two extra things because that actually does speed up the process. So we
Hmm.
don't have to do the sort of back and forth on
Yeah. It's,
on capturing all the data.
yeah, it's a more solid offer. I mean, they've had either bad experiences or something with other funders or someone that their deals are, getting snuck out the back door or whatever the case is, and they're wary. So they're, not willing to do that up front. But when they understand they're getting a better offer, it's solid and faster, like you said, overall, then hopefully that'll make sense to them.
Exactly right.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate very much for your time. Is there I don't know, anything else, any other tidbits you want to throw out there about Wellen before we wrap it up?
I think that the biggest thing that I want to just leave everyone with the impression is that uh, that's really been our biggest emphasis is that we want to make sure that we have a small or at least manageable group of brokers that we work with closely. Um, it's less about sort of having the hundreds of emails come in every day with no commentary and no background in the deal. Uh, that's sort of the MCA mill approach,
Hmm.
and that's not really what we're trying to do.
Hmm.
I think we would prefer to find some folks that are like-minded, that want to do a good job, um, want to be financially rewarded for their work. We all do, no
Hmm.
question. But at the end of the day, if the customer wants to renew and they want to renew with the broker, and the broker wants to renew with us, and you can do that one and two and three times, that's where this business really gets great,
Yep.
because the broker's got a good commission stream coming in from a customer that they've known and trusted for a while. The customer's well taken care of by everybody in the transaction. And the folks that are providing the capital and wearing the risk feel good and can even drive a better return, because return customers are lower risk customers. So that's really the whole idea, is how do we, not sort of churn and burn through customer and broker relationships, but how do all three of us work together so everybody benefits? I think that's our approach to the market. That's what our reputation has been like. And I think that the more people we can find that want to work that way, I think it's better for everybody.
It's great. Well said. And I appreciate it again. And we'll get, you back on possibly down the line, get some more updates and everything else. But thanks and have a great week.
Great. Thanks, Shane.
All right, Steve. Thanks.